Are you thinking about moving to Traverse City, Michigan? Maybe you're thinking about moving your family here, or maybe buying a second home. You need to understand the costs associated with your upcoming decision. Well, you have found the perfect video for that. I've lived here my whole life, and I have seen the cost of living transform dramatically to what it is today. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about everything you need to know about the cost of living in Traverse City and the Northern Michigan area, and especially the real estate market and all the things that'll affect your cost of living here in the area. I hope you enjoy. Hey, I'm TJ Shimmick, local real estate agent here in Northern Michigan. And this channel is TJ's Guide to Moving to Northern Michigan. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do. And if you're thinking about buying a home here in the Northern Michigan area, please give me a call. Without further ado, let's jump into the cost of living here in Traverse City. The average rent here in Traverse City is gonna be around that $2,000 a month mark, but it depends on the time of year as well. This is the rents from the last year and a half. As you can see, the prices of rent are elevated between those spring and summer months. And then you can see in the wintertime, the rents come down quite a bit. So a quick tip for you, if you can swing it, make sure and sign that lease in the wintertime. So really, it's hard to say. The average rent price coming in around $2,300 a month, but in the wintertime, you can expect that amount to go down quite a bit. But it's good to note that there are changes year over year as well. And in September of 2025, at the time of this recording, the rent prices now have increased by about $60 a month. And that is since September of 2024. Now that's for just if you're renting. We're going to talk about buying a little later on in the video. So let's talk about some very, very basic utility costs here in Traverse City. According to Numbeo.com, so basic water, heating, cooling, trash removal for an apartment is just around $150. Your average mobile phone plan is just a little over $50 a month. And your average internet service is going to be somewhere around $67 a month. So it's not really that different than the national averages. And it's not going to be your biggest change as far as cost of living wherever you're coming from. But something you are going to have to account for here in Northern Michigan is owning a car. There are a lot of places in this country where you can get away with not owning a car. Maybe you take public transit, or maybe you bike around the urban areas. Traverse City in Northern Michigan is definitely not that place. So if you don't own a car, please be prepared for those monthly costs associated with owning one. So furthermore, you're living here in the Midwest now, so you're gonna have to count for snow, which means winter tires. So a good set of Northern Michigan winter tires is gonna cost you around $1,000, which is a lot more than those $100 per tire specials you see. The good thing is this will last you probably 3 or 4 seasons. But you do have to keep in mind you need another set of tires to switch out your winter tires when the season's over. If you're like me and you don't like changing out your tires all the time, then you can just buy all-season tires. The 4 all-season tires on my truck cost about $1,100. And they're not going to last the 3 to 4 seasons, but in my opinion, it's more convenient for me. But as you've heard, this is a lot more expensive than your normal regular tires. So these are a few of the hidden costs you have to keep in mind if you're thinking about moving to Traverse City or Northern Michigan. Gas here, I say, is pretty standard. It was $3.19 here at the time of this recording. And the very important light beer index here, you can get a pint of beer for about $5 to $6 at a local bar. If you have any specific questions about utilities or other bills to expect in the area, please reach out to me. I'd love to chat about it. But for most people, the biggest difference in cost of living here in Northern Michigan is going to come down to the real estate. Let's start by painting with a little bit of a broader brush and look at the average home price in the area. According to Zillow.com's index, the average price of a home here in Traverse City, Michigan is $437,000. Now, of course, this is an average, so of course there's a lot more expensive homes and there's more affordable homes as well. There are also areas by Traverse City that just have a lot different averages. So for example, here in Northern Michigan, there are a lot of waterfront communities that are extremely desirable, and the homes there go for a lot more. So for example, just 20 minutes away, the same homes in Leelanau, Michigan have a same Zillow index, and they come in at about average of $1.1 million. Let's look at a couple other nearby cities so we can compare that to what we're looking at here in Traverse City. The average in Detroit, Michigan is going to be about $79,000. Average in Ann Arbor, just over $500,000. Chicago, Illinois proper is going to be around $300,000. And the average home value in all of America is about $360,000. As you can tell, these numbers are all over the place and they don't really give you the best picture of what it's really going to cost. So let's ask it in a different way. What can you get for $1 million in all of these places? So let's look at a couple different places in Traverse City, Michigan, like 802 Potter Road that's on the market right now. This is going for $1.1 million, and it's a brand new construction home with almost 5,000 square feet. So another option, which is popular here in Northern Michigan, is a waterfront home. There you get a lot less square feet, as you can see, at 2,250 for just under $1 million. So that's Traverse City. Now let's hop over to Chicago and see what you get for the same price. So this one's a little less at $995,000, but as you can see, you get 1,600 square feet with 3 bedrooms. So obviously there are parts of Chicago that are going to be a lot more expensive, and you don't get as many square feet for the money. So if you're accustomed to getting 1,500 square feet for about $1 million in Chicago, you're going to feel like Traverse City is a dream. Now let's take a look at what you can get in Detroit for $1 million. For $1 million, you can get a 35,000 square foot multi-family unit with 12 bedrooms. Or another one at $975,000 with 10,000 square feet. So if that's what you're looking for, you're just not going to find that here up in Traverse City. What I will tell you about the Traverse City home values is they have been appreciating dramatically. But let's quickly run through the math of buying a home here in Traverse City. So we're going to use the average home price today here in Traverse City, which is $437,000. And the average interest rate at about 6.48%. And we'll put 20% down, which in this case is $87,000. Your monthly payment's going to come out to just under $2,600. So I'm going to use a little bit of rounding because there's a lot of factors that will impact this number up and down. So for Traverse City, the effective tax rate comes out to about 0.77%, which means about $280 a month. And we'll use an average insurance assumption of about $145 a month. And your average utilities are going to come in somewhere between $300 and $500 a month. Taking all that into account, your average monthly cost of owning a home here in Traverse City is going to be in the low $3,000. So you can kind of get the feel for something if you were trying to buy $1 million home, or whatever your budget may be for a home. But a few considerations that'll really affect your cost of living. So for a lot of you, maybe you're looking for a second home. Maybe you live in Ann Arbor or a different state altogether. But if this is not your primary residence or your homestead, the taxes on your second home are going to be 40 to 50% higher than they are on your primary residence. So if we go back to that average home example, that's an additional about $140 a month on your payment. Definitely something to take into consideration as you're doing the math on what a home or second home is going to cost you. Another option to consider when looking at homes up here in Northern Michigan is condo living, which is really going to change that cost structure. Now, a lot of people are attracted to condo living, especially for a second home. That's because all the maintenance is taken care of for you in the HOA, which is the homeowners association. You can show up and use the property and take off, and the year-round maintenance is all there taken care of for you. With that being said, there is a hefty cost to all that maintenance. Let's take, for example, this $400,000 condo that's on the market right now. And this is pretty close to what we're looking at as the average home price here in Traverse City. But keep in mind, this condo has a $9,900 a year HOA fee that you have to work into that calculation. So when your average home value before, when we were looking at the low 3,000s, now we're looking up closer to $4,000 a month. So just make sure, weigh those pros, weigh the cons when you're on your search for your second home in the area. Owning a condo in the area is going to be a lot easier on you when it comes to maintenance and things like that, but it's going to be more costly when you break into those HOA fees on top of your mortgage payment. One other thing that you should consider when looking in Northern Michigan is building a home. One of my recent videos that I just did about buying vacant land in Northern Michigan breaks down all the costs and the tips and the things to look out for when you're doing that. A lot of people don't take the time to actually figure out the cost that it's going to take to build their dream home, but it is a very, very common thing that people do in building a new home here when they can't find that used home on the market. So let me go through a very high level look at the cost of building a home. First, obviously, you have to buy the land, so there's a cost associated with that. Now, this might cost you $40,000, this might cost you $500,000, depending on the piece of land that you want. Now, what I have seen with the cost of land, especially over the last 5 years, is that land has almost tripled in price. So some people have chosen to buy land, hold on to, and flip it. But obviously, that first step before you build your home is that cost of the land. Then you got to take into account the cost of actually building, and do not get this part wrong. You might have seen some real estate guru out there saying, hey, you can build a home for $150 or $200 a square foot. But I have seen time and time again here in Northern Michigan that people under budget for the cost of their actual build. If you're looking to build that new home, you should account for an average of $300 to $350 a square foot minimum. I've seen so many people give up on their dream and their build because they went in with this long wish list that just didn't meet their budget. So if you're thinking about moving to Traverse City or buying a second home here, please give me a ring. Whether it's the mortgage math or the cost of building a home or anything between, I would love to be a resource for you. I really hope that you found this video informative. And if you haven't, please subscribe below and and I'll see you in the next video.